hopefully people find you in the space. All right. Hello, Leif.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you. And
Can
yeah, we're moving right along. This is Leif Bloomquist, retro gamer and hacker, wearer of wonderful hats. It makes me so happy to see your hat. You have it every year, and yeah, it's a a mainstay of Roguelike Celebration. I feel like I'm there in person to get to see the wonderful hat once more. His passion is exploring the intersection of old and new technology, how it reinvents classic genres into multiplayer experiences. A great follow-up to our last talk. And you're going to tell us about Dungeons of the Rogue Daemon?
That's right. Daemon.
All right.
It's a little in-joke for the Unix programmers in the room.
I love the male Daemon in NetHack, so.
Great. All right. We have screen and we have video. So, hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, depending where you are. I'm in Toronto, so it's currently 3:30. My name is Leif Bloomquist. I presented at the Roguelike Celebration a couple of years, so I'm going to keep today's talk short. It's really just an update on where the game has gone in the last year or so, and also an invitation for everyone who's watching to play and fool around. It's a little bit of a stress test for the server too. But I was thinking the forum would be in the game rather than me blathering. I'm also not going to get as philosophical as Tyreek, so thank you very much for the. I agree with everything you said, and your game looks amazing. And so thanks for setting the stage for multiplayer roguelikes. My approach has been a little different. He mentioned that my game was stripped down. So the reason my game, Dungeon of the Rogue Daemon, is stripped down is because it was designed to run on a Commodore 64 from the 1980s. Oh, can everyone see that? All right. So I went through this last year, but for folks who are new or who might not be familiar with the Commodore 64, you might be thinking, why? Why are you doing this? So first of all, the Commodore 64 was the best-selling computer of all time. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, they sold 17 million, although unofficially, the number is expected to be around 20 million, just because not everyone returned their warranty cards and things like that. It was a huge game platform. Any child of the 80s either had a Commodore 64 or knew somebody that had a Commodore 64, and there were 25,000 games available for it. So it was primarily a gaming platform, but it was also open to a lot of hacking and productivity. And many of those were roguelikes. So there's a strong history there. The C64 is fun to program on. It's bare metal machine language, and it's very well documented after 30-some years of reverse engineering. There's a very active community. There's thousands of users worldwide, and people are into gaming, collecting, developing, hardware hacking, and so on. I'll talk a little bit about some new hardware coming up. But especially in the last 10 years, the community has created networking hardware. You could now hook your Commodore 64 up to the internet. Why would you do that? Well, partly because you can, but this also opens a lot of doors for multiplayer. So the multiplayer experience, I grew up I spent my formative years playing multiplayer games in the same room, playing with friends, playing competitive and cooperative games. And part of my goal here was to recapture that feeling, except with, the online element. Because us Commodore 64 fans are fairly spread around a little bit. But this new networking hardware, gives you so many opportunities for new games and reinventing new games, which is something I think is pretty cool. So I've been messing around with different genres for multiplayer, and a couple of years ago I thought I'm going to tackle a roguelike. So this is repeating some of what Tyreek said, but this is my input on it. So you're wandering around in the dungeon, but you see other characters. And what if those other characters were other players? So you can interact with them. You can go on quests together with them. You can team up against monsters. Work together to solve puzzles. And leave each other tools, clues, and share equipment. I think that would be pretty cool. I've also taken a slightly different approach from Tyreek in that there's no specific strategy or anything. I think of it as a sandbox. I've created the game, a set of rules, drop players into it, and see what happens. We saw what happened when I launched the game. I did a little live demo at Rogue Celebration last year, and something like 50 people joined the game. And the first part of the game is you have to find a key and unlock the door. But with 50 people in the way, we had to let the guy with the key through, and there was a lot of pushing and shoving, and they were passing the key along. And finally, we got the door open when I had 10 seconds left in my talk. It was one of the funnest experiences ever. But I've also added a couple of different gameplay mechanics to kind of engage that. Tyreek said, make multiplayer necessary. So here, I haven't taken a very heavy hand to that, but there's a couple of instances where I'm just kind of nudging the players to work together. So the way the inventory system works in my game is you can carry an item in your left hand or your right hand. And that's so you could double up swords or double up shields or one of each. That's up to you. And there's also other things to find. I won't give everything away, but there's potions and keys and gold and so on. But there's no inventory. If you need to carry a sword and a shield and a magic item and the key that unlocks a very important room towards the end of the game, how can you do that? Well, get some friends and get them together and share it. So that's how inventory is handled. Again, it encourages multiplayer. Get a team together, and I want to eventually introduce puzzles where you have to be at the right place at the right time when something happens. That's all developing, and Tyreek gave me some really great ideas. When you run across an item, you can inspect it to see what it is, or use it, which enables its function. Though oddly enough, not everybody seems to have a Commodore 64 at home that they can hook up to the internet. Fancy that. So I was thinking, well, I also re-implemented it on a couple of different platforms to make it accessible to everybody. But one design element one goal I had right from the beginning was this is all going to be a shared world. So no matter whether you're playing on a Commodore 64 or on a modern web browser or on your phone, or Telnet, from an old or you found some weird mainframe at a vintage computer festival that you've also managed to hook up to the internet. I want these platforms to all be able to play together, and so they can interact, and you get the essence of each platform, but still a unique and fair game between them all. So this has been kind of fun. I've had some success with this. I've got the Commodore, the web browser, Telnet interfaces working. Other retro platforms can use Telnet. The mobile interface is still a little sketchy, but it's getting there. See, it's all written in JavaScript, which I've been teaching myself the last few months. And I see folks are starting to log into the server, which is great. So a quick update on what's new since last year. I named the game. That was actually the hardest part. Programming, no problem. Took me a year and a half to think of a name. You can now choose your own avatar, so your character can be a little more customized. There's 4 to choose from. I might expand those. I've added many new items and monster types. And for the super nerds in the audience, there is now something called the Ultimate 64, which is a Commodore 64 re-implemented in an FPGA. An FPGA is a field programmable gate array, which is a revolutionary new type of chip that can be reconfigured to be anything. You want it to be a Pentium? Done. You want it to be a Commodore? Done. You want it to be a whatever? Done. So someone by the name of Gideon has a company called Gideon's Logic, has launched a brand new Commodore 64, all done with this FPGA technology. You can also hook it up to the internet, so I had to spend a bit of time putting that in. And again, the mobile version, not perfect yet. A couple things I have left to address. I want to improve the mobile interface. I want to add ranged weapons. I want to improve the monster AI. It's a little sketchy, but they're still a challenge. And I want to make the dungeon much larger. It might get a little crowded in there today, but we'll see how it goes. And of course, procedurally generated. Of course, because this is a multiplayer shared instance, this would be procedurally generated, at the beginning, when the server is instantiated, and then everyone would enter that procedurally generated dungeon. Here's how you can reach me. I'll be hanging around all of the various Roguelike Celebration rooms. I'll be wandering through the rooms. I'm on Discord. But here's my email address, Twitter handle, finding me on Facebook. I even have a blog that I haven't touched in a long time. So please reach out with any comments and suggestions you've got for the game. And a couple of quick credits, because I've got 1 minute left. Thanks to everyone who wrote the actual networking code, my playtesters. The graphics were done by a mysterious entity, calls himself QOW. And of course, the organizers of Roguelike, who I just reached out of the blue a couple of years ago, said, hey, I made this crazy game. Can I come check it out? And I've discovered this amazing community of like-minded folks, which is fantastic. So enough talking, let's play. So there is a web interface for the game. You go to rogue.jammingsignal.com/rogue. For the diehards, you can telnet and get to the address there, and that gives you the full ASCII experience. And just so everybody knows, the game is winnable. I have put a goal at the end of the game, and you have to determine the magic word. I'm just going to show, I'm running short on time, but I'm going to give everybody a quick look. Let's stop screen. There we go. And share screen, Chrome tab. All right, can everybody see that? Or any of the moderators, let me know if this is not visible. This is little, very simple hand-coded HTML thing to get it started. And here's where you can download clients for all the different retro machines and setup instructions. I've also got a Discord voice chat and a text chat so that you can chat along with the other players. For the really keeners, there's developer forums. Please join and give me some suggestions. All right, let's run through it. So demo. Using my avatar. And wow, see, there's tons of people. I tried to get into the game a little earlier and get down to the second level first, but the game timed out while I was talking. Because it's multiplayer, I had to have a timeout mechanism. So if you don't touch a command for 5 minutes, it boots you out. So you can see it's more real time than turn-based. You could say it's turn-based, except the turns are 50 milliseconds. But there it is. So I'm going to be joining in the game and following the hordes down into the second level. I encourage everyone to explore and give me feedback. And let's hang out in the dungeon of the Rogue Daemon and have some fun and some adventure.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's funny. Some people have been here before and are excited to see it show up again. Some people, this is their first time. Definite suggestion of wanting wider hallways. But yeah, so everybody go ahead and have fun. We are now officially on our lunch break of the day. I guess I'll let you go, Leif, but people can find you in this space and can find you inside of your own game. Hopefully people can send you the magic word and we can maybe people can try and post it, and hopefully if we can keep track of it, the first person to actually find it, we can call them out. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing again.
Okay, thank you.